This episode of this Focused Practical Dreamer's Journey is brought to you by energy healer Jean Border's personal, powerful transformation program. Know you're leaving money on the table but can't figure out how to bring it in? Need to double your productivity and profitability? Need an extra push to get things moving in the right direction? Visit www.focusedpracticaldreamer.com/transformation now and apply for a business consultation with Jean. Welcome to the Focused Practical Dreamer's Journey, where we take out your emotional baggage and heal your emotional body so you get to enjoy the success you desire and deserve. Prepare to feel a sense of relief and empowerment as we get rid of the baggage you've been carrying that's held up your business success up until now. Be sure to visit our website at www.focusedpracticaldreamer.com. While you're there, subscribe to us via your favorite network. Now, lean in, get comfortable, and prepare to take off.
So hello, everyone. This is Jean Border. I'm your host for the Focused Practical Dreamer's Journey podcast. My special guest today is Chris Chimbers. Hi, Chris. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you, Jean?
I'm fine. We met years ago in the middle of the Caribbean on a healer.
2019. It was 2019 with Dr. Nelson's Body Code group.
Before COVID, so we could still have all that fun. And not worry about being close to people and all the threats that could bring. And we had a great time. But
we did.
But it was a cruise that was meant to allow healers to come together, because what we do a lot of times is a very solitary endeavor. Mm-hmm. We work one-on-one with clients. And this gave us a chance to interact with other people doing the same thing we are, right. Which isn't as common as you might think it is, right? Mm-hmm. And one of the gifts that I believe Chris has is the gift of connection, because he seems to create groups that gravitate towards his message at the time. It was very interesting to me to watch how all that worked. But I believe that's one of your gifts anyway.
Oh, thank you.
I don't know if anybody's told you that before, but that's my belief.
Well, it helps to be an extrovert too.
Yeah. Which I'm not.
Most healers aren't actually.
No, I'm not. So the one-on-one works great for me. Yeah. So anyway, I've alluded to the fact that we both are healers in the energy world. And that's not a world that a lot of people know a lot about. How did you come into that world?
Well, there's a long story. I've always been interested in spirituality. And about 15 years ago, I was having a difficult time in my life and I needed some help. And I looked here and I looked there and I looked another place. And then finally, I stumbled upon the emotion code. And that worked so well. I had one session with a lady who was just training. She was just doing her practicum. And it worked so well for me. I could tell this is amazing. I want to learn more. So we were working on the heart wall. And she ended up doing more sessions for me remotely. And it took about 12 sessions to clear my heart wall.
Wow.
But when it cleared, I could totally feel it. And I wasn't even near her. I didn't even know that it had been done, but I felt something huge. And this was the same time I was in Chicago with Dr. Nelson for a weekend emotion code, because I wanted to learn it. I was, gung-ho, I got to learn this. So all that together. And totally convincing. Big shift there with the heart wall cleared. And so that's pretty much the beginning. And then I went on to body code and so on. And the last few years, it's been something called the light alignment healing method, which has come through me, to me, or through me, or whatever. And it's inspired. So it's an application of the body code, actually. That's my journey so far.
So what is a heart wall? just for our
Oh,
listeners who don't know these terms
okay.
that
Heart
we're
wall
throwing out
101.
there, right?
Yeah. Well, the energy field can be blocked in different ways. There can be something like a trapped emotion in the field, in, let's say affecting an organ or a muscle or a gland. But there's also a wall that can be built. And one of the most common ones is around the heart, because the heart is a vulnerable part of ourselves. It's sensitive. And when we respond to hurt, sometimes the subconscious will build a wall to quote unquote protect the heart. Unfortunately, the protection blocks love coming in and going out. So the heart is basically protected, but it's cut off. So when we know that there's a heart wall, we work on clearing the energy that the heart wall is made of until it is cleared. And we make sure that the client is safe to live without a heart wall again.
Without a heart. I thought you were going to say, I'm like, what?
Well, you already were. Basically, you were practically living without a heart with the wall, You weren't in touch with it. So the wall, the wall is quite a thing. But then the walls can be around any chakra or any organ or gland. There's all kinds of walls that can be there, but the heart wall is a real biggie.
And what did you notice when you said your heart wall was cleared and you just knew? How did you just?
It was kind of a euphoria, feeling great, feeling connected. I was in the O'Hare Airport at the time, and I'm just looking around. Everything was so beautiful, and people looked good, and I felt amazing.
And now you have the gift of connection. So that's interesting that you said you just felt more connected.
It is about connection, of course. Yeah. Well, I also use the terminology of the light with a capital L to explain my work. And light is the energy of the divine. So we can call it God, we can call it source, creator, but I call it the light because it doesn't have any religious baggage. Light is light. Light is an easy concept to get. It's easy to think about light and darkness. So when we're in touch with the light, when we're connected to the light, the darkness goes away. That we don't have to fight anything. The light basically shines away the darkness.
So why did you find yourself drawn towards the emotion code in the beginning?
Like I said, I needed help. I was in a troubled marriage, which eventually dissolved. And it was a good thing. We found that it wasn't a good thing to continue. There was no, we even went to counseling, and there was just no hope for the marriage. So we ended it. And, it worked out fine for both of us.
I'm a firm believer in the fact that things show up when they're meant to show up. And so the fact that this emotion code thing showed up for you at that time and has changed the course, then the trajectory, right, of your journey
Completely
is kind of important, I think.
Well, yeah, it's that's what I call the flow, being in the flow when things just show up for you, so-called spontaneously or coincidentally. It isn't. There's a reason for it. When you're ready, the right things come to you.
And so you enjoyed the emotion code so much, you went on to the body code.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And opened a private practice, I'm assuming, at that point?
Historically, I was a gardener. And for 4 years, I continued the gardening work, but I was starting to take clients for the emotion code. So it took me 4 years before I was able to sell the gardening business and go full time. That happened exactly 10 years ago, that I completely am, just in the energy healing full time.
Very cool.
Yeah. And, the best thing it's ever happened to me in terms of work, because there's no commute. Working online, working in something that I really love and that helps people. It just doesn't get better.
When I look at your website, your gardening background comes into play. You have such beautiful scenic pictures, which I have to assume is of somewhere around where you live.
Oh yeah, they're all local photos because I go around with my iPhone. Love my iPhone. It's fairly new to me, but the camera feature,
Yeah,
nothing, and you can just photograph anything, you can enlarge it. It's beautiful. So I'm taking photos all the time. And the best ones end up, in my Facebook or my website.
cool. So your web address is Heart Freedom? Is that
Heartfreedom.ca.
okay?
Yeah.
And that's for Canada, I'm guessing.
CA for Canada. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And here's another guest who is not anywhere near where I am, but this one I have met in person. He's in Canada and I'm in Ohio at the moment. So again, we're distant, but we're connected through energy. So I really enjoy that. Something else along his journey that coincided with mine was while we were on the cruise, then I believe it was Chris who came up with this idea. Oh, we should all keep in touch after the cruise is over.
Oh, yeah, the Body Code Cruisers. Yes, that's right.
So he created a Facebook group called Body Code Cruisers.
Actually, not quite. I jumped in very early, but someone else, Beth Foley, actually did create the group, and then I jumped in very early on to encourage us to have monthly meetings.
Yes.
So we had monthly Zoom meetings until very recently. So over like 4 years. Yeah.
It was amazing too, because all during COVID, we would have these meetings. So we would have other healers talk about things that, issues that had come up with our clients, that maybe we could look at something here. Did we explore this avenue? And some of it was just for support because you're alone in your home.
Yeah.
You have nobody to talk to. Your clients are all remote, online. So it's not like you're talking to anybody face to face during that time. So it was a very big help for me and for a lot of other healers that you and a couple other people really held the group together. I think you were moderator the longest.
I tend to be very tenacious with things like that have value. We also archived the recordings. We had the recordings were available on that Facebook page. So they still are. The Facebook page is still out there.
Yeah.
It's called Body Code Cruisers, if anybody's interested to join.
Yeah, it was a fun time. And like I said, it kept us connected during a time when the world was just in such an upheaval,
Yeah.
So the fact that we could do this work remotely, I don't have any clients that I do in person. All my work is remote.
Yeah,
it's on
basically,
phone
I'm like that too. Yeah, because we couldn't see them in person anymore. So everybody's adapted to remote work now.
Yeah.
So be it.
And it's a good thing that we do the kind of work that was already distance healing, right? You said that your heart wall went away with a distance healer working.
Yeah, with remote sessions, exactly. Yeah.
So,
and I will say one more thing about the lockdown time. It had no impact on my business. My business was the same all the way through.
Mine grew a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I know I've heard of people who couldn't, their restaurant had to be closed and they went out of business. There's so many tragedies that happened, So again, we're really blessed.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you think of who has impacted your life the most and with regard to your career in particular, who might that be? Who has helped you along your journey towards the life and career that you have now?
I can think of 3 people primarily. Dr. Brad Nelson, who I think is the most exemplary person for in this field. Humble and completely divinely guided, and admittedly divinely guided. He's amazing. I've met him several times. He's awesome. Dr. Wayne Dyer. got me through a lot, because I've been listening to Wayne Dyer for many, many years. Basically, when he would do shows on PBS,
Exactly. Same here.
he always just had the right thing. I didn't listen to it faithfully, but I would hear something and, oh my God, that makes sense. So all over a long period of time, he always gave me good ideas that were beneficial. And one of them, which I'll share, how he stopped drinking alcohol. It's an amazing story. That inspired me to completely give it up about 10 years or so ago. I do not drink alcohol anymore, and there's a spiritual reason for it. He gives a good reason, spiritual rationale for it, because it lowers your vibration. Wayne Dyer, and then Dr. David Hawkins, Power versus Force.
Mm-hmm.
I started reading David Hawkins at the same time I started studying the emotion code.
Oh, wow.
Because Dr. Nelson refers to the book in the emotion code book. And I said, oh, I might as well read this too. And that gave me a great outlook on spirituality and our rate of vibration.
He has another book called Letting Go, if you haven't read that one. That's another
He's
one.
got a bunch of books out there and multiple recordings.
Mm-hmm.
David Hawkins was a real sort of a mystic, but he could communicate so well. He has such a good gift of speaking and writing. So those three gentlemen, I would say.
Cool.
Yeah.
Here's a twist. Who do you think you have influenced, or do you think you've influenced people? And I don't need names, but, just in general.
Yeah, I would say probably. I don't know a lot. Like nobody's really come to me and says, oh, you changed my life. But, I know that by talking about the things that I talk about, I know people are listening. I have a Facebook group right now called the Light Alignment Healing Method, which has 400 members. And these are all people that ask to join. It's not easy to get into that. It's not like just sign up. You must be vetted, to get in there. I have that group. So yeah, I imagine at some point, people are influenced by me, but I don't know any specifics. Just a flow. It's just a flow of it's a flow.
I would venture to say that you've made huge impact in your clients' lives.
Well, thank you.
And there are also other healers that I know for a fact that you have influenced.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, some clients that is true. That is true. I have definitely noticed that. Yeah, you're right.
When you see a client's life change,
mm-hmm.
and the only thing that changed in their life was their relationship with you, that's a little bit of a hint that you've had some influence, right?
Yeah, it's okay. But, I'm not keeping track of that at all. It's not important, to know that. It's good. I mean, it's beautiful, but I don't need to know that. I just do what I do.
And that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm sure they're thrilled that you came along at the right time when you were supposed to, when they were open to it, because let's face it, people say we do weird stuff, right? We have a conversation and something changes. Well, yeah. We don't touch anybody. We don't, it's just, we have a conversation, something shifts and their life looks a little bit different.
We're not working in the third dimension. We're working in a higher dimension. So a person who only can envision the third dimension cannot understand what we're doing. For them, it's woo-woo. It's out there, or it's crazy. They're not, and you don't even, they're not even in need to really try to explain to somebody like that. Bless them. They're in their three-dimensional world. I hope it goes well for them, but they're not ready for this work. I've seen people try, and it's such a strain and such a stress that they can't get there, and it's all right. This is a person has to be open, and to be open, it means that you have to be open to something more than 3 dimensions. So this work is essentially 5-dimensional work.
And what do you mean by that?
There are more dimensions than we can physically see and touch. I don't know exactly how many dimensions there are out there, but there's many. And with God being at the very, very highest. So we can call it a rate of vibration. But the concept of dimension is useful because then you see like one overlays the other. And the smallest dimension is the first dimension. Like just imagine a point, just a period on a piece of paper. Like that would be one dimension. 2-dimension would be a line going from A to B. So that would be 2-dimension. 3-dimension would be, let's say, a shape like a pyramid. A pyramid would be 3-dimensional. And 4-dimensional, 5th-dimensional, it's hard to give you a graphic image, but it's greater than the 1, 2, 3 dimension, fourth, 5th, 6th. There's just more happening. There's more depth to it. There's more substance. If that's a good word. I'm not sure if that's a good word, but it overlays. So the divinity overlays everything. Then there's the archangels, the angels, and us. The world was created with a 5th-dimensional consciousness. So the perfect planet Earth is the way it was originally when everything was in balance, everything was growing and harmony. But we have modified it to bring in pollution and, war and everything like that, and all kinds of nasty consciousness. So we've lowered the vibration of the Earth to 3 dimensions. And in 3 dimensions, it's polarity. There's, good versus evil, black versus white, war, conflict, poverty, disease. But the 5-dimensional plan was never like that. It was a beautiful plan that I believe we can get back to. Individually, each person raising their consciousness realizes, as you raise your consciousness, war is not a good thing. I don't want to fight. I don't want to witness violence. I don't want to even watch it in media. It repulses me. I want to be in peace. So that's more or less an enlightened consciousness. And when enough people have that, we will have that in the world, one person at a time.
When people come to you and ask, how do you know this stuff works? What kind of a response would you give?
I'll tell you the truth. Most of my work is referral. They've already heard from a trusted person that they got help from me and that I'm worth checking out. So I don't get a lot of skeptics, because the skeptic is there. Well, you show me, this is not gonna, I'm not gonna argue with, or try to convince anybody. Let's put it that way. I don't spend any time convincing people. I work with people who are open.
Same here. But I do, on the back burner, have a website that I can send people to that is now doing scientific studies where they mapped out the energy systems of the body, and they do the medical studies to show, okay, if I do tapping, with EFT, what parts of the brain are stimulated, and how does that affect the amygdala and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly, no, the quote unquote proof is coming around. I remember reading Louise Hay. She was one of the first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Heal Your Body. And at that time, this was like 1980, it was such a shocking, horrible idea that emotions could cause this disease. Oh my God, how horrible is that to say that somebody caused themselves to be sick?
Yeah.
I remember the conversation because I was trying to talk to people about it. And it was like, my God, I was hitting a wall there, Oh no, there's no connection, can't be. So yeah, we've come a long way in terms of holistic, our understanding that one thing affects another, and yeah, for sure.
Yeah, when I first found the emotion code, Dr. Brad was talking about the idea that they have this idea that about 80% of all dis-ease in the body is created ultimately by emotions that got stuck in the body somewhere and didn't process out properly, So if you have enough of that build up and imbalance in your body, eventually it shows up as a physical symptom.
Yeah, because that's how the body gets our attention. That is how it's just like the red light on the dashboard to check the engine. If you ignore that, you're going to have problems.
And the longer you ignore it, the stronger the symptoms get.
That's right. So the body, the body's telling you something's got to be checked here. And most people will run to the doctor and get a prescription, and then the red light goes out, but it hasn't solved the problem. It's treated the symptom.
And then that medication creates another symptom, which requires another medication, which creates another symptom, which creates another medication. And eventually you got a circle going.
Yeah. So when my mother had dementia, and she went into convalescent home for elderly. And in the first week, she met with a doctor. All of a sudden, she had 10 prescriptions. Oh, and all the pills, all the pills and all the stuff, like that was the standard practice. It probably still is, Yeah. I was not in a position to do anything about it then. So I just left her in their care, and,
you do the best you can with the information.
Yeah, but I didn't know about energy work at the time. Maybe I could have helped her at the time. I'm working with a lady who has dementia now, and I am hearing good things, that there are good signs happening. So who knows? I believe everything's reversible.
And the more studies they push into it, the more they see that dementia is reversible. It just requires certain protocols that aren't necessarily
mainstream.
Yes.
Mainstream, yeah.
Well, and some of them are more mainstream, but they don't fit the protocols already established.
Yeah.
For treatment. And so therefore they're resisted greatly. We'll just say that.
Well, let's face it, the medical establishment has ingrained methods, right? You don't want to rock the boat, right? You got to keep it within the framework. So yeah, I'm not much of a fan. You know what I'm a fan of? I'm a fan of emergency trauma care. Like somebody's in an accident. Absolutely. That's the best thing. You get them, fix them up, broken bones, whatever, that's great. But in terms of disease treatment, I have other ideas.
Well, unfortunately, it's treat the symptom. Don't actually have a cure, It's just
don't
treat
get to the
symptom.
root cause. No.
Yeah.
I really believe we have understanding of the root cause, energy and balance.
I agree. Now, I also agree that medical professionals have a place. I agree with the trauma bit 100%. I also think they're good for discovery, for ruling things out, for seeing if something's off in your blood levels, right? To see if you've got a toxin in your body that needs to be addressed.
Yeah, that's right. That's
just
true.
The protocols that they utilize to correct it. If they haven't been working, why would you continue them is my question. But that's what's established protocol. But if they're not working, why are you continuing to utilize them? But that's a story for another time.
That's right.
But I do like the fact that the testing is available to rule things out. It helps you, at least it helps me with some clients to focus on specific things, right?
Yeah, good point.
Also, you can do very simple tests to see if you're heavy metals, if you've got toxic levels in your system. So you can address those very easily, even on a physical world, the physical world correction with detox, right?
Sure.
So it's all kinds of things you can do. I just don't necessarily go along with established protocols. How's that?
No kidding.
How's that?
Jean, you are a radical.
I know. I'm trying to be so politically
proud
correct.
of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to be politically correct because they do have their place and I do utilize them on rare occasion. It drives my family nuts that I don't go to the hospital for everything, okay? But but I do occasionally go when I've decided that it'll provide value, right?
Okay.
But it has to be an informed decision, and there have to be. It's like I tell my clients, if the doctor, I don't get in the middle of a doctor and a client patient relationship. Whatever your doctor says, that's what you do. And they come to me and say, well, should I take this? Does this test good? I'm like, you do what your doctor says. But my suggestion is you read that brochure they give you with your medications. You read all the side effects. You decide if that's good for you or bad for you. And if you decide if it's not great, go back to your doctor and say, is there an alternative?
Right.
Or is this actually
get a second opinion?
Yeah. Or is this really necessary, or is it just in case something might happen?
Sure.
Because I think those are valid questions to ask a medical professional, rather than just, oh, here's a prescription that's just going to create another side effect.
Yeah.
But I also believe, this is again personal belief, not for anybody else out there to take on, but a lot of times doctors give us a chance to have enough time lag for the body to heal on its own.
Okay.
So you go to a doctor's appointment and the doctor doesn't know how to cure you, but he's going to give you a little stopgap that'll make you emotionally feel like you've done something to make yourself feel better. And then by the time the prescription's done, your body healed itself anyway. So that's a funny idea, but that's my idea. It's just a stopgap to give your body time to heal. So I just put off going to the doctor for all that time until I've realized, no, I've had healers working on me and I can't, so I need a little physical something to assist with all the energy work that's being done.
Well, to back up what you're saying, I injured my knee about 2 years ago. And there was no, I saw about it. It was just a thing that, it was going to work out because nothing was broken. It was just sort of dislocated a little bit. Anyway, it found its way back in place. The pain lasted, though, for almost a year. But after a year, there is nothing wrong with it now. It's completely functional again. And no medication, nothing, just I had to favor it, and all this stuff. But other than that, it took care of itself. It took a year, but
the body's created to heal.
Of course,
it was designed to heal. If you cut your hand and you keep it clean, you can watch it over time heal itself. Right? Yeah. You don't have to tell it what to do. It knows. If you put it in the condition where everything is favorable for it to heal. Yeah. It's kept clean. It's kept dry. You don't keep putting it in mud or something, and you have
an attitude. You have an attitude that this is healing too. You also have that attitude. But I'll give you an example. The highest priced automobiles, Lamborghini, Ferrari, and all this stuff. These are almost worshipped by many people. Why? Because they're designed with such precision and intricacy and quality, right? Like everything, top of the line. How much more quality is our body than that? Because it was created by divine intelligence. It was designed by divine intelligence. The cars are designed by, skilled engineers, but it doesn't come close to the quality of what we're made of. That's how I think of it. And I learned this through the body code of all the different systems, how you can look at a system like the immune system. And it's every part of the body is covered in some way by the lymphatic or it could be the tonsils or the liver, the bone marrow. There's all these parts of the body that work towards immunity, getting rid of toxins, keeping the body healthy. That is a marvel in itself. The circulatory system, how much veins and arteries going through our body, the nervous system, all that, who could ever have sat down and designed, what human could ever have thought that up? And then you look at animals, they have very similar systems too in their bodies, very similar.
Yep.
So this to me is a clear sign that, divine, and an animal, by the way, an animal gets sick or injured. What does it do? It goes and hides. It goes into seclusion until it's healed or dies. Animal, they tune into that healing energy right away. I'm just going to be quiet here until I'm better.
Yes.
Right? That's we're running the dog to the doctor for anything, but the naturally there's a healing process that is just there. It's innate.
But we've forgotten it in a lot of
We've
ways.
forgotten a lot. We've forgotten a lot, exactly.
In a lot of ways, we've also been indoctrinated, right? You see on TV, all the advertisements I see for medications that, it's 30 seconds of, if this happens, go see your doctor. Well, but if there's a chance of death, why would I take that just to have clear skin? I mean, seriously, suicidal thoughts are a side effect. And so you're going to give that to somebody? Yeah. I'm like, how is that? Again, soapbox time here.
It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I'm going to step off my soapbox, but sometimes logic goes out the window when you're indoctrinated to just accept what you're told.
I could talk for hours about mind control, but let's go on to let's keep it in the energy field, okay?
Keep it in the energy world. Okay.
Yeah.
So back in your journey, let's go back up again.
Yeah.
So you did emotion code, then you did body code, then you started having these ideas about, and I'm going to throw you here because it's not what you're calling it, the subconscious healing method.
Okay, well, that was the first inspiration. You're right. It was the subconscious healing method. It was to address the idea that the subconscious could be split and or separated. This came out of a discussion I had. The conclusion was that there could be more than one subconscious mind in a person. In other words, there could be another subconscious mind. So the energy healer is working on the main one, but the problems are with this other compartment or whatever that we're never addressing. So that became a real revelation. I was guided to a way to bring them back together so that there's no more separation. There's only one subconscious. The other part of that is that there could be a split within the subconscious. So even if there's only one subconscious, there could still be a split in there that needs to be healed again. So separations, different ones, and then splits in the main one. And some people came up with like 20 splits.
Well, you have to, it was very logical for me because even in the military, they teach compartmentalization, right? As a survival tool.
Yeah, of course.
In a lot of ways.
That's exactly the word.
And so the fact that it came to you as something to be addressed, it just made perfect sense.
Sure. Yeah, that's right. So that became the thrust for a good year. And 2 years ago, this month, actually, the concept of light alignment came to me. Aligning with the light. And this is the big thrust of my work now, is getting a person aligned with the light. The more we're aligned with the light, the more we have access to all the gifts of God. And the gifts of God are what our original birthright: abundance, joy, connection, healing. You name it. The list is long. Our Creator created us out of love. And when you love your child, you want the best for them. You don't want them to suffer. You don't want to send them suffering. You want them to thrive. So when I'm aligned with the light, and I literally can tell you that I work on being 100% aligned with the light as much as possible. I do fall down a bit. Something can throw me off a little bit, but I get right back up to 100% because I know it. I know when I'm not. And I want to be there. And by being there, I'm connected. I'm connected. It's like unplugging your computer from the internet. You can do some stuff on it, but you're way limited. But you plug back in, and now you've got everything available to you. It's the same with the light. The light has everything for us. The light knows what we need. All we have to do is ask for help. Ask and you shall receive. I understand what that means. So the light alignment, in the light alignment healing method, we do have subconscious healing method can be one branch of it. A person may need that. They may need the body code. There's several things that we can do. But ultimately, it's to bring the person to a light, to the highest light alignment that they can manage.
So you actually have a Facebook page for
Yes.
this group where you're always doing demos.
Can I show you that? Can I
Sure.
share my screen? Okay.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Let's see if I can get that up here. And so how can I reduce that? If I can get oh yeah, here we go. I guess I'd share my screen. That would be a good start. Might as well pause now because this might take a minute.
Okay, so I see your Facebook group here.
Right. Light Alignment Healing Method. That's the name of it. A person can join it, can ask to join, and there's some qualifying questions. There is a bit of a hurdle to get in. And then once you're approved, you're in, you're a member. Today there's 395 members. I can invite people. Occasionally I do, but mostly people just hear about it and they find our page. And then while I'm sharing the screen, if I may, here is the Light Alignment Healing Method. This is an ebook. And we have, this is 2 years of material that's compiled in this ebook. And there's, by the way, the Facebook page is completely free. The training is completely free, but the ebook has a price tag of $39. So it's the only thing that is out of pocket for a person is the ebook.
Cool. And they can see demos on your
on the Facebook page.
Yes, right?
We do demos. We do a demo session every week. But this is what's in the ebook. We have protocols, exercises, and charts. My favorite chart is the positive qualities chart. Can I get into this a little bit? Because this is a big deal.
How would you use this chart?
Yeah, right. Okay. Let's say the person has the trapped emotion of failure, which in the emotion code would be column B, row 2. It would be the first one. It would be failure. This counterpart, this is the counterpart quality. So the counterpart of failure is success. So once we clear the failure from the person's energy field, we realign them with the quality of success in that case.
That sounds very useful.
Yeah, so there's 60 qualities here, which relate to the 60 trapped emotions. Most common one is shame that gets cleared. And the replacement for shame is sovereignty.
And so how would you clear and how would you replace?
Okay, the person tests, let's say they have a trapped emotion of shame, we clear the shame using our emotion code protocol.
Okay. That's what I was getting at. If somebody's listening to this podcast who doesn't know anything about emotion code, what does that mean?
Yeah.
That there are procedures in place and we just follow established procedures that we've done a million times for a million reasons.
Yeah.
And it's very simple.
But what I'm adding here is that now that the shame is released, we replace it with sovereignty, which, as you can imagine, is completely the opposite of shame.
Well, shame is, if I remember correctly, like the lowest vibration on the vibrational chart, right?
Yeah.
So when you release that emotion that's stuck in your body, that's vibrating in your body of shame, which is a very low vibration, when you release that, your vibration naturally rises up.
It raises, yeah.
And but so then
from there, we go another step with the sovereignty.
And now you add something that's a very high vibration. And so it just is raising it even further.
There you go. So that's one of the things that we do in the light alignment. We have some very active exercises to raise the person's vibration, because we need to raise our vibration to coincide with the light. The light is always there for us at any time. But if our vibration is low, we can't connect with it. Not because it's holding back. It's because we need to raise our vibration. We need to take that initiative.
Yeah. Anytime people talk about vibrations, I start hearing the Beach Boys song, "Good Vibrations," in my head.
Nice song. Very nice song.
But it's very telling. It really is. If you're around somebody that makes you feel really weird, chances are they're giving out a vibe that you're picking up on,
Everything and everyone has a vibration.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We need to be with people that are resonant with us, or we're going to have a very tough time of it. I know lots of people who are in families with spouses who are completely different. And it's very, very stressful. And we have to determine if that is, worth continuing, or can it be healed or not? And if it can be healed, good. If it can't be healed, maybe something needs to be done.
And the first step to that is always awareness. That first, that something exists, and second, that there are choices.
Exactly.
Right?
And then having the honesty to look within, and look at what I'm holding, not trying to justify it. Look, if it's hurting me, I really, it's not good for me to be carrying this anymore. When people justify a grudge, well, look, it's hurting the person, hurting me by holding the grudge, not the person out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I seem to get into that conversation too. Forgiveness does so much harm to the mental, emotional, spiritual, but also the physical body. The more you hold
unforgiveness.
The more you hold on to a bad deed that was done to you that you can't let go of. The more you carry it in, the more you compress it, the more you lower your vibration, if you will.
Exactly.
The more you impact your world. And eventually your physical body will begin to show the strain a lot of times.
Here's a good one. Here's a good example. A little statement that is memorable. Energy flows where attention goes.
Yes.
If I'm looking at the negative, that's where my energy is going to be. I'm going to be in a negative state of mind and emotion. If I'm looking at how to solve a problem or looking at a good outcome, I'm raising my vibration. It's very simple.
It's very simple, but it's very hard sometimes. It's very easy to focus on what I did wrong or what they did to me or what I could have done better or all this rather than saying, okay, here's where I am now. How do I get to where I want to go?
I believe I have an answer to that. And it's, basically, first of all, it's get over that. Get over it. That's where to start. Get over it and start to build something positive. That's all.
Take that first step. Take one step. If that's all you can do today, take one step today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow you'll take two. Maybe you'll only take one, but take the first step, right?
I will tell you though that when you get out of that pit, that because I've been in it, I know what the depths of depression is. I've actually experienced that, and I remember saying when I got out of it, I said, I am never gonna let myself fall like that again. I never have, never. I made an absolute commitment because I saw the pits, how bad it is, how horrible it is. And I said, never, never again. And that's I made a vow, and that's a positive vow that I made.
But a lot of times that's what it takes. You have to get to the point where you just say,
yeah.
no more. I can't do it anymore.
That's right. Some people that have suffered so much are just amazing people, after getting themselves together again.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's the rubber band has been stretched so hard. There's no more, power to it. It's you've gone through what you had to go through, and now you can create a beautiful life.
And so here's the question. Are there human angels?
Definitely yes. Definitely yes. This is something that I have discovered in the last 2 years, along with the light, that there are human angels. And human angels bring hope, divine energy to the three-dimensional world. So there are a lot of human angels, many of whom don't know that they are. You can always tell a human angel. There's something about their positivity, their kindness, maybe their voice, maybe their appearance, but not always, but sometimes some look really amazing, some sound really amazing. And some are just, always there, always present when they're needed, always giving. So it's fairly easy to tell a human angel. And I'll give one example. Elvis Presley. You would think, well, rock and roll and all stuff, but the man, his love was gospel music.
Mm-hmm.
He made some amazing gospel recordings. You have to hear them because that was his heart and soul. And he had a spiritual quality. Despite the rock and roll image and everything like that, there was something to that man that was amazing. And, there are still people, there's still thousands of men who impersonate Elvis. Why? What did he have? What was the quality? Because he was a human angel. He had a mission. They're not, most human angels aren't in the public eye, by the way, but you will know them.
I'm going to say my mom was one. She didn't know a stranger. Everybody loved my mother.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
They would bend over backwards to come and see her, to hear her talk, to interact with her. It was just amazing to me,
I intuit that you are correct. Yeah. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
So I'm actually researching a book on human angels, and I hope to have it this year finished. It's something that really fascinates me.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And there are those people that you're just drawn to, without rhyme or reason. They just have something that draws you in,
Or they just show up randomly, to help. There's lots of accounts of that too, and then they actually disappear. They vaporize. They show up at an accident scene. Where's that woman? Well, we didn't see anybody, but she got me out of the car. Like you never know. Like the human angel. So there's a sort of a superimposition of angelic and human quality together at the same time. Because if you believe in angels, they don't have bodies, but the human angel has a body and has a life, a human life at the same time.
Interesting stuff.
The human angel is not perfect. and can definitely make mistakes and take wrong directions too. That's another reality of it, unless they know that they are.
Well, once you add the word human onto angel, you kind of changed the
That's
meaning.
right.
Right.
That's right. Big time. It is, yeah. But it's an evolutionary step.
So if we were going to talk about one of the most enjoyable parts of your business, what would that be?
The list is long. Self-employment.
Yeah.
Okay. There's no boss. Well, there's one boss.
Yeah,
One
there is.
boss. The one and only creator is my boss. But other than that, no human boss. The joy of helping people, the joy of making my living doing this, making my own schedule, following my intuition. Like I have the connection to be guided in a certain direction for a certain condition of a client that may be something I've never done before, but I'm guided to do it.
Yep.
So I have the resources to help just about anybody. I'm working with somebody who has Parkinson's disease, and but there's progress. Small.
I've had that too. Yeah.
But something's happening, because I do believe that everything's reversible. But
So
in terms of work, never been happier. I do not envision retiring from this work either. This is something I can do for a very long time.
Well, it's almost like if you have the ability, you have an obligation to utilize it, It's a different
strong word, responsibility. Maybe I'd say responsibility in a way. Yeah, maybe.
Because if you sit back and do nothing when the other people could be helped,
I just can't see myself. I'm just not that kind of person that I'm going to sit with the remote control and a beer and watch TV. It's not going to happen. So I'll be doing something.
Okay, so if you were going to advise somebody who's not as far along in the business as you are, of a pitfall that they might want to be aware of, or obstacles that may come up, what might that be?
Oh, very simple. Don't take it all on your shoulders as if it's your success or failure. Don't judge yourself by, oh, they didn't feel better, or they did feel. Don't take it on that, oh, I did that, or I'm to blame for that. Never do that. You need the biggest lesson for me right at the beginning was to disconnect emotionally from the process. Forget about what I think is wrong or what I think how it should be done. Just listen and tune in to the person's energy field to find what's there that's responsible for this problem that they have. So it's a certain detachment that we need to have, because if not, we get involved, we're going to start sharing energy with the client, maybe picking up energies. Not going to work.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
That's my advice there.
Because they're the ones doing the healing. You're just facilitating somehow.
Well, I'll put it this way. The way I look at it now, the light is actually the agent, the healing agent, working in tandem with the person's body to do the healing. And you and I are facilitating removal of obstacles to that happening. We're sort of like garbage collectors in a way. We're helping take out the garbage.
We absolutely are.
and isn't it true? And but the thing is, the garbage just vaporizes after. It doesn't go anywhere. So then we leave the client in the hands of the light for the healing to happen.
Very good.
Yeah.
I always like to leave people with an idea of what could stand in their way of success, which is taking on things that aren't yours to take on.
Yeah.
Right?
Another one, the most common trapped emotion I find among healers is unworthiness.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not worthy to succeed. That's very, very common among healers for some reason. So that's a thing to be aware of.
Another one is
We're all worthy. We're all worthy. And if you're guided to be a healer, there's a reason you're guided to be a healer. That's in your heart. That's in your soul. You really want to follow that.
And another obstacle that I get with what I call younger healers is the conflict of charging money to heal somebody.
Yeah.
Well, the inner conflict of that. Oh, if I do this, I should just give it away for free. I'm a bad person if I charge money,
Well, that's kind of from religious indoctrination. That tends to be because if I'm giving a service, why would God not want me to be rewarded for giving a service?
Mm-hmm.
Whether I'm fixing somebody's car, why wouldn't I ask for a payment for that? And if I'm helping with somebody's energy field, that's a real service, and that's I'm worthy of being paid for that too, because it's not in God's plan for us to be poor.
Nope, it's
or
not.
Sick. And it's not, doesn't work that way. Abundance is a flow. I give something, I receive something in return. It's a flow. But one other quote that is really really helped me along the way from Wayne Dyer, and that's don't die with your music still in you.
I like that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And on that note, I think we'll close out this edition of the Focused Practical Dreamer's Journey. I want to thank my guest, Chris Chimbers, and please go visit his website, heartfreedom.ca. Information will be below, so you can just click on the links.
Awesome.
Also, some of his Facebook links will be below. Sorry. And I want to thank you so much for your time and the energy that you put into this. I appreciate you so much.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Jean. Thank you. God bless.
Same to you. Bye-bye, guys. See you later.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Focused Practical Dreamer's Journey, where we take out your emotional baggage and heal your emotional body so you get to enjoy the success you desire and deserve. Remember to visit our website at www.focusedpracticaldreamer.com and enjoy even more great episodes like this one. Again, while you're here, subscribe to us via your favorite network. We look forward to seeing you next time on the Focused Practical Dreamer's Journey.